AS-203, now scheduled for launch before AS-202, will not carry an Apollo spacecraft, but rather a lightweight nose cone. This will allow the S-4B to go into orbit with about 10 tons of liquid hydrogen aboard. During the three-orbit mission, the dynamics of liquid hydrogen in space will be studied to gain additional data on the behavior of this fuel under weightless conditions. Such information is needed to perfect the restart of the S-4B in Earth orbit, required for manned lunar exploration.
AS-203 flight objectives were to evaluate the second stage liquid hydrogen continuous venting, engine chill down, and recirculation systems, the tank fluid dynamics and heat transfer into liquid through the tank wall, evaluate second stage and instrument unit checkout in orbit, demonstrate orbital operation of the launch vehicle attitude control and thermal control systems, and ability of the guidance system to insert a payload into orbit, demonstrate operational structure of the launch vehicle.
At MSFC, S-1B3 underwent two successful static firings, the first on October 12th, the second on October 26th. The stage was shipped from Marshall to Michoud November 4th. Post-static modifications and repair continued throughout the quarter. Stage checkout is scheduled for mid-January.
Booster post-static checkout for SA-203 was completed at Marshall's Michoud assembly facility in early March. Preparations for stage shipment are in process. Shipment to the Cape is planned for early April.
In preparation for the launch of AS-203, the Chrysler-built booster for the second uprated Saturn I launch vehicle was shipped from Marshall's Michoud facility on April 7th. It arrived at Cape Kennedy 5 days later. It was moved into Hangar AF for pre-erection inspection and checkout. On April 18th, the stage was erected on LC-37B. Douglas's S-4B-203 stage was shipped from Huntington Beach aboard the Orion October 29th. It arrived at the Sacramento River dock November 1st, was unloaded, then transported to Sacto the following day. The stage was installed in Beta Stand Number 1, recently converted from a battleship facility to an acceptance test facility. Stage refiring operations continued through the quarter, with static firing scheduled for next quarter.
On the West Coast, Douglas efforts centered around the second stage for SA-203. Due to part shortages, pre-acceptance firing activities proceeded slowly until the first week in February. Stage power-on checkout and LH-2 experiment TV system manual checkout was completed by mid-quarter. In late February, 2 acceptance firings were aborted due to malfunctions in the automatic firing sequence tapes and a small fire in the engine fuel pump area. On February 26th, a 289-second acceptance firing to LOX depletion was successfully completed. Shipment to the Cape is planned for early April.
On April 4th, the Douglas-built second stage was flown from the West Coast to Cape Kennedy, marking the first delivery of a flight-type second stage aboard the Super Guppy. At IBM, SIU-203 component installation continued through the quarter. Completion of assembly is planned for the middle of next quarter. On April 14th, the instrument unit was flown from Marshall to the Cape aboard the Super Guppy.
Preparation for shipping the lightweight nose cone was completed in February. The nose cone departed Marshall March 1st and arrived at KSC 10 days later.
The nose cone was barged from Marshall to KSC aboard the Poseidon last quarter. On April 21st, the second stage instrument unit and nose cone were stacked atop the booster. Pre-launch activities for AS-203 then got underway and continued through the quarter.
AS-203 was programmed to be launched from Cape Kennedy on a flight azimuth of 72 degrees. The second stage, instrument unit, and nose cone were to be placed into a circular orbit of 100 nautical miles. The flight was planned for 3 orbits plus. The entire flight was to be monitored by television cameras mounted in the liquid hydrogen tank, designed to relay pictures of LH-2 behavior in flight. The launch was temporarily delayed by a malfunction of one of the two cameras in the all-important television system. A decision was made to launch the vehicle with only one camera operational. Liftoff occurred on July 5th at 9:53 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
The mission did not carry a spacecraft. Instead, the S-4B stage, the instrument unit, and a nose cone were launched into orbit as one 92-foot-long, 59,000-pound satellite, the heaviest yet placed in orbit by the United States.
First stage cutoff occurred 2 minutes and 23 seconds after ignition, followed by stage separation. Second stage cutoff occurred at T plus 433 seconds, placing the stage, instrument unit, and nose cone in a near circular orbit of 100 nautical miles.
The fuel, a total of nearly 10 tons, was studied by television and telemetry.
For 3 revolutions, onboard television cameras transmitted pictures as the liquid hydrogen sloshed around during boost, then calmed, then settled to the bottom of the tank.
During second stage burn, television coverage shows fuel level decreasing in the liquid hydrogen tank. Following second stage cutoff, the bulk of the fuel remained settled except for a sheet containing about 50 pounds, which splashed up to the forward end of the tank. Then, immediately resettled because of the small acceleration continuously imparted to the stage by the venting systems.
In periods when the venting system was closed, much data was gained on the behavior of liquid propellants in a true weightless state.
Fog formed as a result of boiling. However, no liquid was lost through venting. As part of the simulated restart, hydrogen was pumped engine, demonstrating restart capabilities vital to future flights. All objectives of the flight were met. The liquid hydrogen experiment proved that this fuel could be handled satisfactorily for stage engine restart in a weightless environment, a requirement for future Apollo Saturn missions.